This is a summary of welding repair on my HCM boat after approximately 420 hours of use. Somewhat earlier, at around 200 hours, I first took care of this crack on the bow deck. It's right along the edge and was about 18 inches long. So I just ground that out and re-welded it and then sanded it down to match. I'm not going to show that. It looks basically like it did when it was new. Also, a few years earlier, I noticed these cracks at the bottom of each of two grab handles. Both of them were cracked in a similar manner, and so I ground those out and welded those, but of course, by 420 hours, they had reappeared.
And here we're looking at the grab handle again on the side of the boat. So here's the gunnel, and we've got this nice crack going. I repaired that. I just MIG'd it and then ground it down. And my repair lasted longer than the original setup did, but now you can see it's cracked again, so I'll have to do something with that. I think it's just a crack chasing proposition, so my plan is just to chop it off up here and maybe a little higher, weld this, and then put a piece of stiff rubber hose on there, and that'll make it all continuous, and then it'll serve the function of being a grab handle, and then hopefully it won't crack out again. Here we're looking at the roof structure on this HCM, and all these bent tube comes over the top and attaches to the top of the side of the boat here with these welds, and all these toward the back look good, but this one up here at the front, you can see it's cracked out here, and the crack pretty much goes all the way around. So it looks like this tube is completely cracked away from this, except that we have this weld in here where this tray or shelf is welded to the tube. So this tray is actually providing a lot of strength and helping this tube stay where it needs to be. But eventually, if this weld fails, and this weld fails, then it'll all just kind of fall apart. And looking up at this roof tube, these are all good. Ones toward the back are good. There's no cracks there. But that one's obviously cracked out. Looking closer here, you can see the crack is propagated through this weld and up the side of that weld. And then it wraps around too. And there you can see on the inside, and the only thing keeping the thing together right now is this weld, again on the tray, and it's starting to crack too. So this one is worse actually than the one on the other side. And here we are in the front corner. And you can see a crack getting going up here. So this is a post, and then you have the side attached here, and it's just where the side and the post come together, so there's a crack there. And there you can see the crack is coming over the top and down the other side a little bit. And here's the crack on the other side. This one's a little worse. So it comes down here. And it comes over the top. And it heads this way along this bend. Now this is arguably superstructure too, so here's the front deck. And here we got a crack going from here all the way down to there. And this is the other side. Maybe not cracked quite as badly, but you can see it's cracking right in there too. Well, you consider this right here, see how horribly that's torn. I mean, that's not just a crack, that was torn. So at some point, I hit a big wave or something, the whole boat twisted, and it just ripped that step apart.
So here you can see the right step, and the left step is basically the same. So this carpeted part is just a carpeted aluminum for the bow access door to lay against. So the door has been removed. There's some hinge holes down here. And then you've got the step wrapping around here,
and then this piece of aluminum that's been welded in to kind of fill in this space. And this paint line here, when the boat was built, that was not there. So this piece and the aluminum that the carpet is on, they formed this line here. So you can see this piece has been pushed back. It's also been pushed down by about 3/4 of an inch. So this piece and everything above it, including the dash, is about 3/4 inch lower than as manufactured. And then the step is kind of rotated out and up. So this hole is not supposed to be there, and neither is this tear that was shown previously. So overall, this stair really doesn't have much structural value. It's just kind of collapsing, and there's some welds between this horizontal piece and the bottom vertical of the stair, and those welds are all broken inside there. So in general, to keep the bow from further collapsing and everything just falling apart, then some structural bracing needs to be put inside to hold everything up. Because there's a huge amount of force when you do a face plant and you have water across the bow, up onto the window, and up onto the boat. That's tons of water, and it hits the boat really hard, so it's not a gentle thing. And so that's probably why this is going like this, and maybe some twisting effects in the boat too when you hit a wave on one side of the boat and not on the other side of the boat. Here you can see cracks on the outside of the step. So this one is the biggest, and previously I had repaired this one, but then it just re-cracked after maybe 50 hours. And then there's another crack here that's smaller, one here, and that's under the carpet, and then there's another one that you can't see down below. So my hope is now I'll repair these and add some structural bracing to hold the dash up, and then maybe all of this will not keep re-cracking.
Okay, here's the corner by the gas tank, and this weld has been repaired. Here's another one back near the gas tank, so that was cracked out. It wasn't the weld, it was the heat affected zone next to the weld. Okay, here we are up near the passenger seat, so this was cracked out. It's kind of a dirty weld that I got here. I was having trouble cleaning all the crap out of the weld, but anyway, it'll probably work. And then underneath here, you can see that's cracked. I'll probably clean that out and get in there with a MIG gun. And then this was cracked out beside the weld. And you can see under here, that's cracked. And it's the same on the other side of the boat. That's going to be impossible to get in there and weld it from below here, so I'm going to have to cut a hole in the floor to repair that one. And you can see, yeah, there's lots of cracked welds all over the place under here. I'm not going to bother to, highlight all of them because there's just so many. There's another one right there. Maybe there. They're everywhere. So here's a hole in the floor, cut with a skill saw, nice and square. And there's that crack that I was showing you before on the stringer and the lateral piece.
So a total of 6 broken welds similar to this were found in the vicinity right behind the driver's seat. So the floor and the bottom of the boat were becoming separated at that point. So there were 6 welds to repair altogether. So I had to cut holes like this for all of them, which took a long time. And then I had to fill the hole back in and grind everything down because I wasn't able to completely flush weld everything. So that actually, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, and it was a big pain in the ass.
Anyway, now I got to plug this hole, which is, well, that's the way it goes. Yep. I got to do the other side of the boat and patch a whole bunch more cracks and shit all over the place. Okay, I chopped this out to get a whole bunch of cracks in the stringers, and we're already come unwelded from the bottom of the boat. And all I can say is, holy crap, this is taking a long freaking time. All the prep work, welding, and then grinding that down flat. It sure would have been nice if I could flush weld it, but that just wasn't going to happen. Okay, so we repaired a bunch of welds on the step. So here's one of the braces that I eventually devised to hold the dash up. So it comes down and attaches to the floor, and I put that plate in the floor, and then there's a gusset coming out the side to kind of spread things out a little bit. And there's a matching one over here. So the same plate, post, and gusset. Then you can see out here, this is what it looks like from the outside. And so the post comes up here, and then I capped it. And then there's plates here and here. And then there was a hole in the floor, and because it was kind of irregular, then I welded this other plate in here. So anyway, this should add a lot of strength to the whole thing. I've got about 50 hours on the boat, and I'm not seeing any new cracks happening anywhere. So hopefully this will be the permanent cure for the dash collapsing and cracks appearing all around the steps and so forth. And some people might say, well, that's kind of an unsightly arrangement with the post visible from inside the boat like this. Well, if I had welded inside the bow to make something like this happen, then I would have had to be a munchkin to do the welding. And because I'm not a munchkin, I came up with this method where I could add a post and do most of the welding from inside the cabin rather than inside the bow. And the stuff that was actually inside the bow like this, that stuff I could do by reaching in rather than laying up and curling myself up in a ball and turning into a munchkin. So this actually turned out to be relatively easy for a relatively tall person. And here you can see this roof piece tube comes down here, and it was cracked out here, so I added this plate, re-welded everything, and welded it to this tray a little bit more solidly. And then this plate is maybe 10 inches wide there, and that will help spread out the stress from things tending to want to bend at that point. And here I added this gusset from this post to the side of the boat, and then I thought, well, that will just move the stress from this joint to this point. So then I welded another plate in here to kind of spread things out a little bit more. And so far that seems to be working. And then these repairs I did on the other side of the boat too, because they were both the same. And here's the post on the other side of the boat, and you can see I had to cut a notch in this aluminum diamond plate and the decking material to go around this added plate here, but that's really not a functional issue. Nobody puts their foot there, so it's really not affecting the step. And here's the front roof tube, square tube, and I added this reinforcement underneath it because it was starting to bow down slightly, probably because of the light bar sitting on the roof. So that should strengthen it and keeping it from re-bowing. And here's the grab rail repaired, and it seems to be holding for now, but I know that eventually it will re-crack, so I've got to do something more permanent here so I won't just be chasing cracks. And here's one last thing. The hinges on the right door broke, so the door fell off, so obviously I had to repair that, and so eventually I'll get around to painting it. So far it seems to be working, and it's not re-breaking. Exactly why it broke is unknown. It could be due to boating, it could be to bouncing down a gravel road on a trailer, all kinds of things, possibly because the door got caught by wind, who knows, but anyway, that's what happened.